guests. And well, my name is Jorge Reyes. I am the Education USA advisor for Oaxaca, Mexico. So this afternoon, we have two reps from Full Sail University. Lilian Garcia, which is the rep for Mexico and Central America. And we have Sandra Lizama, which is the rep for the Caribbean. Is that right, Sandra?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I'm in charge of, here in Mexico, of Oaxaca and Guerrero. And before we started to talk about this very exciting webinar, I first would like to tell you about what is Education USA. Okay, so I'm going to start. Share my. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my presentation now. Okay, thank you, Elvira. Okay, so this webinar, the name of the webinar is Career Paths in the Entertainment Business. And one of the promotion that I try to make is like every one of us, we like live shows or concerts, right? Well, I do because besides being an advisor, I'm also a drummer. So I really love this topic, but let's not jump ahead of that. Okay, so okay. So what is Education USA? Education USA is a network of advising centers. We are in all over the place, all around the world. We have centers in more than, well, in 178 countries with more than 430 advisors. We rely or we depend on the Bureau of International Cultural Affairs, which is the ECA. And all this comes from the Department of State of the United States. So Education USA is the official source of the government in order to get accurate and current information to study in the United States. So in this webinar, as you can see, we are working together with Full Sail University, but through all these months, we have had several webinars with some other universities as well, because our main goal is to promote higher education in the United States. So our mission is actively promote higher education in the United States, around the world. The information that we provide to our students, we try to be as clear as possible. We try to have the current information as our friends, the reps, provided to us. So in a way, we are qualified from the government of the United States to provide this information. Okay, so and why the United States? We know that many countries, they have a very good academic level, but we think the United States, it's a good platform, not only for Mexican students, but for international students, due to the multiculturalism that students can gather. The opportunities that the universities in the United States provide to international students, it's very high. So you have quality of education, you have flexibility and variety of programs, cultural and intellectual exchange, and ability to work into cultures. Why? Because as an international student, you will be able to either, if you want to remain in the United States, you can bring your culture into the United States. Or if you go back to your country, you get also this cultural background, perhaps just for the 4 years or 2 years that you may study in the United States home, okay? So our services, we provide individual and group counseling in an Education USA advising centers and virtual centers, informative talks and webinars, reference libraries, and preparation materials for admission tests. And during this period of time, with the quarantine and all that, all our services have become virtual on virtual platforms. So we're still working as normal, only through a computer or through an electronic channels. But still, I mean, all our services is still for you guys. So if you have any doubts about not only for this webinar, but if you would like further information about studies or how to study in the United States, please contact us. We're still open on our homes and all that. So please feel free to contact us. And without further ado, I would like to present Sandra.
Hello.
Okay, so Sandra, the platform is yours. And if you want to start sharing your screen as well, feel free to do it right now.
Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and take over. Thank you so much again for giving us the opportunity just to talk with students and our experience. And I encourage all the students that are watching to definitely just use the resources that Education USA has to offer. They are very helpful, and you know, they're going to help you get one step closer to your dream. So I'm here just to share with you a little bit about my experience as someone who's now currently working in the entertainment industry. I graduated from Full Sail University, and just to share my story with you. So we can begin. I'm originally from North Carolina, Sanford, North Carolina. You see that little dot literally in the middle of the state. And I actually started dipping my toes into the entertainment at the age of 16, where I did my first event. I looked everywhere to look for something, whether it was a picture or a video of my event. This is the only thing that I could find on MySpace, actually, in my old MySpace account. So this was my humble beginnings with event management. Without even realizing, I was tapping into telemarketing, event management, budgeting, and all that kind of cool stuff. So when I graduated from high school, I ended up moving to San Antonio, Texas, pursuing a very completely different career than what I'm currently in. I went to a private university and I was studying theology with the concentration in Islamic studies, which a lot of people are like, how on earth did you end up doing that and now entertainment? But after 2 years at this university, I realized that, hey, I like to do this. I love to learn about religion and doctrines and all of that, but more as a hobby and not really as a career. So I started doing my research and realizing how can I get a certificate for, I think someone has their sound off. If everyone could put theirs on mute, please. Thank you. So I started researching, like, how can I get a certificate? I didn't even think that you could get a bachelor degree in event planning or just anything related. So I started Googling event planning, music management, a little bit of everything that I knew I liked to do. And that's how I ended up finding Full Sail. So I ended up going on their website, I ended up discovering them on a sidebar, an advertisement. And as I started going through their website, I'm reading about, you know, accelerated program, you graduate in 2 years. So I was like, oh my God, so I can still graduate in 2014, you know, switching career paths is not gonna, you know, affect my time when I'm supposed to graduate. And then as I'm reading through all of the programs, I find entertainment business. And some of the courses that stood out to me the most was event management, international business, marketing. So I was like, wow, this is really what I want to do. So I ended up pretty much dropping out of my previous school and automatically starting my process with Full Sail. So I started online in August, and in December of 2013, I was in Orlando, Florida, ready to start on campus in January. And it was such an incredible experience for me. I really got to dip my toes into a lot of different areas of the entertainment industry. I was really determined on developing a variety of skills, not just one. And one of like the main events that I first worked at while studying at Full Sail was FMF, which is the Florida Music Festival. I had two different roles that I took on during this festival, and one was as a stage management assistant. So making sure that all the bands were loading and unloading on time, making sure that the sound engineer was okay. And then my second role was as a assistant for the industry parties. So I think about the Florida Music Festival is that it's very focused on up and coming independent artists. A lot of A&Rs from different record labels come scouting talent at FMF. So it's really, really a big deal for anybody who's trying to get discovered by a record label. And aside from the music festival part, they have their conference and industry parties. So I was like helping coordinate one of the industry parties that they had. And you're talking about talent and representatives from record labels and like House of Blues are here, you know, coming to network at this event. So it was like a huge deal for me. And one of the artists that got discovered at this festival, actually, if anybody recognizes that, that's Taylor Swift. That's actually where she got discovered by Big Machine Records, was at FMF. So this was actually her first showcase. So you kind of really see like the type of platform that FMF is. And that was really me trying to like kind of get the behind the scenes experience. And that was something that really helped me as I started developing myself in the entertainment industry. Another thing that I started doing when I was at Full Sail, I tried to look for different opportunities to just be a part of something. So I started working with some promoters in downtown. And one of the events that I had to do was work backstage for Ken Y. Ken Y was coming to Orlando to do a concert. So I had to like take care of all the VIP lists who were allowed to go backstage. I had to make sure that his bar was fully stocked and that, you know, his entourage was taken care of. So that was like a whole nother role that I was taking on right there. And I was really excited and grateful to be a part of that and just gain some experience through that and also just gain connections. So in 2014, I graduated from Full Sail and I got my first job at EDC Orlando. I actually ended up getting this job through our career development department at Full Sail. My advisor, who was absolutely amazing, sent me this job lead. She's like, hey, they're looking for someone for EDC Orlando. They're incorporating a new technology. And so I remember applying for it. And I mean, I got the job on the spot. I didn't even have to interview. And that was a milestone for me because like 2 years prior to that, I had applied to volunteer at EDC Orlando. So just to work for free, I just wanted to be part of it. And 2 years later, once I have a much better resume and much more experience under my belt, I was able to finally get paid to be there. And I was so excited, you know, I got to see, you know, Dash Berlin, Above and Beyond, Cascade, and I just couldn't believe that I was getting paid to be there and be part of this. So that was a huge milestone for me. And also at Full Sail, I met my husband who is from Trinidad. So that's why I live in Trinidad now. And I've been living out here for 5 years. He's very entrepreneurial. So he started his own events company here in Trinidad. And so whenever I moved here, I kind of took over the company and started being in charge of the events and developing a lot of the events that we were creating at the time. And this all led to I ended up doing like international outreach for Full Sail as well, because Full Sail ended up being part of one of our events here in Trinidad. So here you're kind of seeing a little bit of the different places I've had the privilege to meet a lot of amazing students, a lot of fellow alumni, as well as I've traveled sharing the great news of Full Sail. So this is actually the project that I ended up taking over from my husband. Skyrock Festival, when I moved to Trinidad, it was going on to a second year. Skyrock Festival is very focused on local independent rock music. So you're getting artists with all different genres of rock when it comes to like alternative rock, experimental, metal, thrash metal, new metal, even like the Caribbean fusion rock. So Skyrock was a festival that was very early, very, very young when I took over. And every year we started experimenting new tactics of developing the crowd. So the year that we took over, we made the festival into a two-day festival where there was 10 bands each day performing. The following year, we ended up collaborating with Wacken Open Air, which is a huge metal festival in Germany. And what we ended up doing was hosting a competition for Caribbean bands so that one band could be selected to represent the Caribbean in Germany. And I mean, this festival is huge. You got Alice and Cooper performing, AC/DC, Metallica. I mean, all the big bands are coming there. Saratoga, Sepultura are performing here. So it was a really big bridge that we had created to kind of help start developing and bringing some recognition of the rock industry in the Caribbean. And this year was actually the first year that we had an American band fly in from Los Angeles to come be part of the festival as well. And thankfully, our network has been expanding internationally. It's no longer just regionally, but you know, we have bands from Spain wanting to perform, bands from France, bands from, you know, the US. So thankfully, you know, the brand is definitely expanding. And through that, you know, I wanted to give some tips on, you know, like what's helped us develop, you know, this brand and our events and being part of it. And a lot of it has to do with partnerships. Partnerships is so important when it comes to creating a brand, and a brand that's, you know, that you want to last a lifetime or for many, many years to come. And so some of the tips that I like to give is like, be genuine from the get-go. Like you have to be transparent, you know, share with the, you know, your potential partner, like what is your vision for your brand and their brand working together. And only through that transparency are you able really to create that longevity in your partnership. And with that comes like get to know them. And when I'm talking about get to know them, I'm talking about like even before you meet this person in person. This is like do your research on the brand that you want to partner with. I mean, like how, what is their mission statement? What are their values? Research their marketing strategies. What are associations that they care about? What are things that they really care about? Because this is something that I've realized as I've worked with a lot of different brands, such as like Jack Daniels, Heineken, you know, a lot of different international brands that we've been able to work with. You'll come to learn that brand managers for these entities often change and sometimes don't know exactly yet how they should represent the brand or how the brand should be marketed or how even installations should be implemented for events when it comes to like guerrilla marketing. So that's why it's so important for you to do your research before you meet them. Many times when I meet with our partners or even new potential partners, I already come fully prepared with, I know exactly when this company was funded. I know what was the main purpose of this company being funded. What are they doing now? What is their vision for the next couple of years? Because I want to show them that I care about them and that I really can see that I have a vision for both of us. That's not only going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit them as well. And I'm coming in with fresh ideas that sometimes they're not able to come up with, or maybe they're just not at that point in place where they can come up with ideas because they're still getting to know their brand that they're representing. So like I mentioned, think long-term. That's why I also, when you're getting to know them and you're getting to know their values and their mission statements, you're able to create those long-term goals, which is very important if you're expecting that partnership to continue for years to come, which usually we do. I mean, all of the partners that we've worked for our festival, I mean, so far we've been in a relationship for 6 years and we're hoping to continue a relationship for many years to come. And the only way that we've been able to develop that is because we think outside of the box. And not only do we limit our projects to our rock festival, but we expand them in other areas, including like, you know, community outreach. One of the main things that we started pushing for, like Hard Rock Cafe. Hard Rock Cafe is very new in the Caribbean. Like it just opened to the public this year, and they've been looking for partnerships. And they just can't find anyone. And until we met them, like I said, I had done my research on Hard Rock and I knew exactly what to pitch to them. I knew that they were looking something beyond events, but also community outreach, getting in contact with the audience, knowing what the public needs here in the Caribbean, and really knowing how hard rock could really be represented as hard rock in the Caribbean. And that's what really makes an impact, is that when you really know that partner, you're really able to establish a good relationship that will develop as the years come. As new innovations come, you'll be able to innovate and adapt with them as well. And COVID-19, I think that this is something, I mean, we all are going through very similar situation. I know some states, at least in the US, are, trying to get back to normal, but, people are still taking their precautions. Here in Trinidad, we are still on lockdown, and I think we're going to be for a very long time until this is, gotten to a better position where we'll be safe to go out. But this has made a huge impact in all industries, as we all know, and including the entertainment industry. I have a lot of friends who have had to come up with innovative ideas to find a source of income because there's no more events, or there's no source of income through live entertainment. And I think that because of this, it has sparked innovation, it has sparked creativity where you have to think outside of the box. And so a lot of home concerts have been happening. One of the main things that really kicked off like the home concerts too, I don't know if anybody saw it, was like the Backstreet Boys, Our Heart Radio's, concert that they had. Lady Gaga had her own concert too, One World. And a lot of people have been incorporating this into their daily routines now. For example, here, a lot of the local artists and regional artists are constantly posting music up, whether it's original music or their own interpretation of covers. I mean, everyone's constantly online. I think that's why in the beginning, everyone was having so much issue with their internet, because just everyone is using it at the same time. Everyone's relying on the internet right now. But this is something that you really notice. I mean, even comedians are doing stand-up comedy shows via Instagram and Facebook. And that's something that's really pushed. And I think that this is a great thing, because it's letting artists finally realize that you don't have to have this huge mega production to connect with your audience. Like, there are other resources that's maybe more feasible to you, depending on like what kind of budget you're working with. So home concerts is something that I think has really been popular lately, and I don't see it really going anywhere. I remember reading studies on the virtual experiences for concerts, and I do see that definitely hitting the market very soon, is that virtual experience for concerts. So taking that home concert to like a whole new level, because this is going to be much more immersive than just watching the screen. And then challenges. I'm going to highlight 2 challenges. One of the challenges is the obstacles that I mentioned. No live entertainment, but it's really pushing innovation. But it's pushed a lot of challenges online. So as you may know, like a lot of people are spending time on TikTok, doing a lot of different challenges on TikTok, challenges on Instagram and Facebook. And I think something it's really cool and that I noticed in the last couple of weeks is that as we all know, TikTok is more, the demographic is more teenagers, high school students, middle school students. And you're noticing that now parents are part of their kids' TikToks, I think that's something that has been very cool. That's brought some type of unity, entertainment, not only for that demographic anymore, it's crossed over to an older demographic as well. So I think that challenges are something that are going to continue going even after COVID, as we've noticed that it does push a lot of online interaction. And then the next step is the marketing. I don't know if you've taken the time to just sit and watch your TV, like regular television, at least for 30 minutes. All the ads right now are, we are in this together, or we're all going through something, but everything is related to the COVID-19. Online marketing campaigns are the same thing. And that's something that I really want to highlight. I mean, everyone had to change their marketing strategies to adapt to the COVID crisis. And that's something that you constantly have to be doing, is innovating your marketing strategies. COVID or no COVID, you have to constantly be adapting your marketing strategies, constantly be aware of what's relevant in the market. And with that, I mean, that just takes research, even anticipating what's going to be happening in the following year, making like that 5-month plan of like your online marketing strategies. That way you're able to kind of meet the goals that you want. If you want to meet a certain amount of traction online, you're able to achieve those goals a lot faster if you make those marketing plans ahead of time. For example, like, you know, yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, which, I mean, you guys are probably like, oh, you know, like these people are just monetizing on this. But I went on, you know, you're going on the online, and everything right now was that. I mean, restaurants that were able to adapt to the circumstances are selling taco kits for you to buy and pick up curbside, and, you know, make your own tacos at home. So like I mentioned, everything comes with innovation, and being able to adapt as quickly as possible and researching what is going to be the best for your business is something that we always encourage. But I think COVID-19 has definitely pushed innovation. A lot of great new ideas are going to continue coming out of this, especially if quarantine and lockdown has to extend for, you know, a couple more weeks. I think only better ideas, better innovations are going to come through the COVID-19. And yeah, so I don't know if you ever have any questions or tips for event management. I mean, event management or entertainment industry is such a huge topic that I think we would have to do multiple segments to really cover everything. But I did want to share like just important bullets with you. But this is a way that you can reach out to me. And right now I'd like to open the platform for questions. I know some people may have questions about, you know, Full Sail in our programs, or maybe about entertainment. I think I'm seeing some questions here. If you, while we wait for questions, I can kind of tell you a little bit more about Full Sail. Like I mentioned, Full Sail is in the Orlando area, specifically in Winter Park, which is literally like a 5-minute drive into Orlando. And Full Sail has been around for 40 years, very focused on like the entertainment industry. So that does include like music production, it includes film, it includes animation, game design. Our technology program it's very amazing. Our newest program is the simulation program, which is very focused on like the virtual reality and augmented reality aspect of technology. Very focused on like practical learning. So, oh, look, someone's asking, how can I get involved in music production? Okay, so in order for you to get first to begin your admissions process for music production, the first step is that you would have to go through an interview where we're going to want to get to know more about you. Like, why have you selected music production? What are your goals? What type of projects would you like to work on? What projects have you worked on? Because a lot of students do come already with like, you know, they've been producing beats or, you know, music with like, you know, local artists that they know. And once you've gone through that interview process is when you can officially apply to the university. Now our music production program covers all aspects of production. I mean, you're gonna learn about all genres of music like country, rock, R&B, hip hop. So, I mean, you're gonna be a very well-rounded producer by the end of it. So another question. What would you be something you would recommend to someone interested in this field, event planning? Something I think some of the tips that I would like to recommend with event planning. Learn about budgeting as soon as possible if that's not your strength. Like learn about the partnerships, and also always remember about the many skills that you have, because I know that sometimes you think like, hey, I don't have a big enough budget to do an event this way, but maybe you're good with social media, right? And you want to book an artist. I've done that many times where I'm like, hey, can you perform for me? And I'm gonna, manage your social media for free for like 2 or 3 months. Or or if you're a photographer, like if you like doing pictures and be like, hey, I'll do a photo shoot for you. We'll exchange services. A lot of times that really helps to like, lay out a good foundation so that you can get on your feet when you want to do event planning. That's one thing. The next question is, if anyone would like to study a major in the entertainment business, it's better for he or she to have previous preparation as a performer or as a manager. It's not required. It's not required because, to be honest with you, like that entertainment business program is very thorough. Like, I mean, you're learning accounting, you're learning financing, you are learning like the event planning, even down to like how to get sponsors. I always recommend though, like if you can start getting prior experience or getting involved in certain things, the better it's for you. It's not required, but it's better for you because sometimes you'll be able to kind of understand some of the stuff better and kind of already start thinking ahead of time, like, hey, this is what I can see myself doing in 5 years. Unlike sometimes when you're starting to like get to know things fresh. Sometimes it's, it takes a little longer for you to like build your ideas. But it just really depends on the type of student that you are at the end of the day. Is it hard to push an emerging artist? How to do it? Okay, so I mean, there's different levels of artists, and it just really depends at what level you get it. But it comes with its challenges. I will tell you that from the get-go. I've gone into artist management before, and it is very hard sometimes, especially if communication is not good. That is something that I encourage from the get-go. Like, be very transparent, set your ground. If you're going to be the manager, like set your ground rules of what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. Because at the end of the time, like for you, time is money for you. And you don't want to, be giving all this time for an artist who probably doesn't respect your time. I mean, there was an artist who is very popular here in Trinidad that I was working with for a while, but our relationship failed because he had no respect for my time. We were supposed to have a meeting, let's say at 12, and he would arrive half an hour, 2 hours late, and that's just no way to be productive. So making sure that you set yourself, your rules clear from the get-go is very important. Do you have a postgraduate programs too? Yes, we have master programs in various fields as well. I recommend you to check out the website. We have a whole page for all the online programs. They take a couple months extra, but there are online courses available. I mean, not online, master programs available, I'm sorry. And then I would like to become a performer. Is there any major for it? Unfortunately, we don't really focus on the performance aspect of the entertainment industry. We focus more on like everything behind the scenes, all the business, the marketing, the, production aspect of being a performer. So if you wanted to learn more about like someone mentioned before, music production or how to put on a concert, Full Sail, that's what we help you for. But to be in front of the camera, that's not so much our focus. Okay, what are some of the general requirements for international students that want to apply? Okay, so the first thing, like I mentioned, is the interview so that you can apply. The interview is the first step, and then when you've been approved through that interview is when you can formally apply. Now, some of the stuff that you can start preparing ahead of time to make things easier when you have to start submitting documents is like, if you graduated from high school, get your high school diploma, get those documents from your school, or if you're currently enrolled in another college, start getting your transcripts. We are going to need those transcripts. The next thing is like bank statements, because you're going to need bank statements not only when you start your financial process with us, but you're also going to need the bank statements when you want to start applying for your student visa. So those are some important ones. Will I need a portfolio in order to get these interviews? A portfolio is not required, no. It's always good if you have a portfolio, because then that kind of shows us where you're at with your skills. I mean, I get a lot of students from that want to do animation, and they share me their portfolio. So it gives us a better grasp of where they're at with their skills, but it's not a mandatory thing. I think I covered all the questions for now. What are some of the common questions asked in these interviews? Okay, so I think some of the common questions asked are like, how did you hear about Full Sail? Why do you want to study at Full Sail? Why do you want to study computer animation or film or music production? What are projects that you've worked on in the past related to this industry? What are your goals in the future? Those are some of the questions that we tend to ask. How do I leverage some of my past experience as an entertainment manager with credentials in the field of event management beyond the walls of the resort? And how does Full Sail view past experience and certifications? I possess an associate's in event planning and management. Okay, so let me just make sure I got this clear, because it seems like two parts of this question. Okay, so I assume that when you're talking resort, you're working at a resort currently, and you're looking to see how you can go beyond what you currently do in the resort, like doing your own thing as an independent entertainment manager. Is that correct? If that is the case, the way that you get prepared through our entertainment business to go beyond what you're doing at a resort is that you're going to learn entrepreneurial aspects of the business aspect of entertainment. So I mean, if you're looking to, let's say you do events and you want to open your own company for events, I mean, you're going to learn about the legalities and contracts. If you're going to want to open your own company, you're going to learn how to develop your own marketing strategy for your independent company. I mean, everything can cross over, whether you're working independently or for a resort. It really prepares you in all aspects. Like I mentioned, it doesn't only focus on one area of business, but it's covering all aspects. Even if you want to go outside of Mexico and want to go to another country, like you're going to even learn how to introduce a business into a foreign country. How can I get noticed by an artist manager? Okay, so this is, I get that question a lot, especially when I'm scouting talent for our festival. It's very important for you to have a strong online presence. I mean, constantly interacting with audience online. Another thing that we notice is like, you know, how you present yourself online besides the interaction. I look at like what type of platforms are you on. So it's not solely about me finding you on Facebook. Like, are you on, for example, there's bands in town, or there's, you know, a lot of people use Spotify to gain more traction. Other people use SoundCloud. I mean, just showing us the different platforms that work for you. Because I mean, maybe Facebook doesn't work for you, but Instagram works for you. Like, we're going to want to see those platforms. We're going to want to notice like, what all do you do online? Do you only post pictures, or do you post videos as well? What's the quality of your content? Quality is very essential. I mean, as soon as I look at a Facebook page of a band or an artist, and I look at the quality of their graphics and they're low, I mean, I'm not going to be very interested in working with them. So the quality of your content is very important. If you, let's say you filmed a video at home and you're doing it for music purposes, and you're probably hearing a lot of noise in the background, it doesn't matter that you put up that video online, because people are not going to care about the video. People are going to care about that noise in the background. So it's best you don't even post the video. So sometimes that's why budgeting is so important, because you have to find out, okay, like who can I work with that maybe they have the skill, or maybe even you could develop the skill, like to make sure that your content is a lot more visually pleasing to the eye that could attract, you know, a potential future artist, you know, manager or something. Okay. If there's any more questions, you're free to send them in the group chat, or you could say it out loud.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself, and then if you can ask, if you would like to ask a question to Sandra, I mean, like in a more personal way, given the circumstances. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, but Sandra, could you?
Yeah, if you want to stay in contact with me, these are the platforms. Yeah. You can always email, or you can find me on Instagram if you want to talk more about like events and that kind of thing. I can always, you know, talk to me there. But either way, it's fine. Okay, so Lillian asked a question. So far, what's the production project that you like the most? Well, my project, Skyrock Festival. I love all the projects that I've worked on, but I think that one is close to my heart because that one is the one that has pushed me to grow the most. I mean, my husband very much pushed me outside of my comfort zone when I jumped on this project. One of the main reasons in the beginning that it was so challenging was because Trinidad has a very thick Caribbean accent and they talk very fast. So the first job that my husband had me do for the festival was collect the tickets because the bands were selling tickets and I had to go and request, you know, the tickets and the money back. And it was the hardest thing for me to do because on top of that, there's a live event taking place and having to like talk to them. I already have a challenge understanding them. But I think that's why I love our project so much because it made me grow so much. So many unexpected things that happened, so many obstacles that came up really pushed me to be stronger in the business, to understand things better. And that's why that's my favorite one. But I love everything that I've worked on. How is past experience and certifications received by Full Sail in terms of credits and completion? Okay, yes. So in order for us to get those, like if you already like went to a previous institute, you have credits already, we're gonna need that transcript. So we need an official stamped transcript from that institution so we can evaluate those credits. I mean, there are many cases where some credits will transfer. Like when I transferred from the other university I went to, I got my transcript and some of my credits transferred over. So it is doable, you can do it. Okay, yes, and definitely you can always send me an email anytime that you want to. Alrighty.
Okay, so if we don't have any further questions, I think we can call it a day.
Okay, yeah. You have my contact, so if anything, everyone can always reach out to us. If you want more information about Full Sail, also reach out to us and Education USA.
Yes. Could you only share the last slide, please, Sandra, over there?
Oh, yes. I keep forgetting I'm sharing my screen right now. Okay, let's see.
Okay, so this is my information for the center in the advising center here in Oaxaca. So you can email us and look us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So yeah, if you want to keep connecting also as well with Full Sail, well, you have as well Sandra's information, and we can redirect you as well with them. Okay. So, anyways, this webinar is being recorded. So if you would like this recording, you can ask it well directly. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and everyone have a lovely night.
Thank you very much, Sandra, and Lillian as well. Sorry, forget you.
Yes, especially to Lilian for helping put this together.
Yes.
Especially for you for sharing your experience, Sandra.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Jorge,